and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer and explorer. Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind talking about Justin Bieber.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Holy man, we got a full house here this morning. Get me all fired up here. All right, it is Tuesday. This one's titled Bitcoiners Are Built Differently. And this is going to be a fun one to go through, I think. So last week we talked about the private key stuff. How to properly manage your private keys. I call it the most important episode of the series here, I guess you'd call it, the series. And I want to take a little bit of a break from it today because, you can only do so much security, technical stuff. And I figured it was this would be a timely lesson based on where we're at. It's pretty crazy. In the last 2 weeks, we've kind of gone from, Scotty says buffering a lot. Is that on Rumble? We are on YouTube, we're on Rumble, and we are on Nostr. So if you're watching, let me know. Okay, crystal clear. Thank you, Sin. Appreciate that, buddy. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of time here. We're going to get a little bit warmed up, but I was just saying there, in the last 2 weeks, we've gone from about $90,000 US all the way down to pretty much 60,000, back up a little bit. But this is the kind of stuff that if you've been in Bitcoin for a while, this is what you're here for. This is the kind of stuff. These are the days where you can actually make some hay. And so that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. Just looking at it from a different lens. I feel like there's been a lot of negative energy directed towards Bitcoin, but again, negative energy, positive energy, it's still energy. And there's been a lot of energy directed towards Bitcoin lately, which is good. So I'm very hopeful. I think that the last, 2 weeks, been some crazy stuff come out. A lot of it I believe to be very far from the truth, but that's just usually how it goes. Whenever there's something going down, everybody has a reason for it, and they like to share their reasons and opinions online. And for somebody who has a channel and looks at this stuff every day, there's a lot of people out there who really have no idea what they're talking about, but just like kicking Bitcoiners, I guess, when they're down. And as a Bitcoiner, kind of what we're going to be talking about today is the mindset of a Bitcoiner. And you pretty much have to be prepared to be called a dipshit for about 99% of your life. And then eventually, that changes. But I think that's just kind of where we are right now. I had a comment in the YouTube this morning saying that we're actually too late to Bitcoin. It's too late to Bitcoin. The only chance you have in Bitcoin now is if you're a speculator and a trader and you know how to trade up and down. And I have the exact opposite sentiment, is that I think the Bitcoiners who are here now, anybody who's in the live chat watching this or the recorded version of this, I think you're much closer to too early than you are too late. And neither one is really good, honestly. It's kind of sad to say, but it's the truth. I think that whether you're too early or too late, neither of those two options are good. So I think that we're close to too early right now. And I'm going to kind of explain as best I can anyways, what I mean by that. So we get a lot of faces in the chat here. I'll just give a couple different things. Should we do a little report of the network? I feel like we've been doing those here. I feel like we've been doing those kind of before the lesson. I think that's a good way to do it. So we'll start with the mempool today. See what's going on in the mempool. So we are currently at the block height of 935,920. Spider Pool, the winner of the last block. And there was 3,439 transactions inside of that block. Fees in this block were about 3 sats per VByte on average, minimum of 1.21 sats per VByte, and a maximum highest of 300 sats per VByte. I don't know who the hell's paying 300 sats per VByte. They were really worried about the Bitcoin network getting really busy before they got their transaction through there. SEC pool, the Securities and Exchanges Commission pool. Janet Yellen just mined a block there. So we are now at the block height of 935,921. And that's kind of the clock. That's Bitcoin's time. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit about human time. Bitcoin makes its own time, and that is the block height. So since January 3rd, 2009, there's been 935,921 blocks mined. SEC pool being the recent winner. So the question is, I guess we'll check on the difficulty adjustment here too. We had a big adjustment downwards last period. I believe it's 2016 blocks. Every 2016 blocks, the difficulty is readjustment. That's kind of like the self-regulator in the Bitcoin network. That's the real value of Bitcoin is derived from the difficulty adjustment. And there will be a future episode specifically talking about the difficulty adjustment. It's funny because one of the metrics that I use for whether or not people actually understand Bitcoin is whether they can explain the difficulty adjustment and its relevance and why it makes Bitcoin so unique and so valuable compared to other assets. So we had a downwards adjustment of 11%, and it looks like we're way ahead now. And a lot of this, in my mind, was a couple of reasons. Number one, the price was down, so miners don't see it as profitable to be mining. But the other one is that there was a big storm in the US, the big cold snap. So they were actually able to take a lot of that energy that was being directed towards Bitcoin mining and actually use that energy to heat homes, keep people alive. So that's a pretty powerful thing about the Bitcoin network too that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, is that it's very flexible in the sense that if there's a lot of energy available, you can mine Bitcoin with it. You can help secure the network. You can have a chance to win Bitcoin. When there's demand for other things, like there was in the US last week with the big cold snap, they can actually turn off the Bitcoin miners and they can redirect that energy to heat homes. So Bitcoin actually builds out the power grid. It expands the infrastructure because Bitcoin's the buyer, the last resort buyer. If there's nobody else who needs the energy, Bitcoin miners will buy it. If other people need the energy, Bitcoin miners can power down and they can redirect that energy to where it's needed. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And so the miners themselves, their incentives for mining is that they get paid in Bitcoin. So you can see here that the SEC pool was the winner of that last block. And for that, they got paid the subsidy of 3.125 Bitcoin plus the transaction fees from all the transactions that were inside of that block, which in this case were about 1.8 million sats or 0.01 of a Bitcoin. So that's what they get paid. They get the total reward there of 3.1437. This amount right here, the subsidy is fixed. That's what they get paid every block. That's the Coinbase transaction, the newly generated coins. And then they get all the transaction fees, which come from everybody who is sending Bitcoin in this block for a total of the reward there. So this part's fixed. This part changes every block. It's variable. And this is the total. So really good way to learn about the Bitcoin network. You can see here the supply, the total supply, which we're going to be talking about today a little bit. You can see the total blocks, the next halving, where this subsidy here gets cut in half. So it'll go from 3.125 to, I believe, 1.65-ish. The blocks, the next difficulty adjustment. So you can see here, the craziest thing about this whole visualization here is you can see the total supply there. So that line, that really faint yellow line outside, there's been 97% of the 21 million has already been mined. 95% of the 21 million here. So for the first 7 years in Bitcoin, it went all the way around the circle here, 95%. And then for the next 100 years, there's only about less than 4% to be mined over the next 120 years. So 95% in the first 17 years, and the next 4% or 4.83% for the next 120 years. So that's why I say, if anything, you're too early here. Because when you're too early, I'll maybe save this for later. But anyways, the total supply right now is 19.98 million of 21 million, which is 95%. And you can see the exchange rate today. If you have $1, you can get yourself 1,450 sats. $1 buys 1,450 sats. The deal of a lifetime. You can trade one unit of the worst, shittiest, most manipulated, most illusionary paper money that humans have ever known, ever had, ever used. You can trade one of those units for 1,448 units of the scarcest, most precious, energy-backed currency and the best money that humankind has ever seen. You can trade one of those units for 1,400 of the best. The deal of a lifetime, as we call it. We got some Nickelback playing in the background today. Love that. Love me some Nickelback. All right. So that's kind of a state of the network. We should take a look at one more thing here, which is the real price of Bitcoin. The closest thing we have to the real price of Bitcoin, which is 13 ounces. 13 ounces of gold gets you 1 Bitcoin. Again, this isn't the greatest. This isn't, I wouldn't call this accurate, but it's the closest thing we have to measure Bitcoin. Because again, if you look out far enough here, Bitcoin is moving currently from medium of exchange store of value to medium of exchange, and it will be the unit of account. So right now we're comparing fiat and Bitcoin, we're comparing gold and Bitcoin, but eventually everything's just going to be priced in Bitcoin. We got quite a few zaps coming in here from some of the usual suspects here. I should give a quick shout out here before we go any further. We had Praetorian. I'm guessing Praetorian was in the chat nice and early today. Let's see. First one in the chat. First one to zap, 3:02 a.m. Praetorian sent 5,000 units of freedom and said, good morning, Jordan Visionaries. Have a prosperous and productive Tuesday. Kind regards, Praetorian. So thank you, Praetorian. We also got, what else do we have here? We got one from Scotty Boy, a couple from Scotty Boy. We got Sin Diesel sent 18 and a 45. Thank you, Sin. 4371, 4,371 units of freedom from Duncan, I'm guessing. I should check on the, let's check on the Zap stream here. Let's see what's going on over there. I'm guessing that was from Duncan, but that's $3 worth, $3 tip. 4,300. Wow, that's a big number there. 4,371. We got Joshua with his infamous Josh Zap, 8,888 units of freedom. Said, good morning, Luxter. Claw 6 times if you agree woke is going broke. Yes, that was Duncan. Okay, thank you, Duncan. We also got Letha the Icon, who sent the biggest zap we've received in a very long time last week. And she sent 5,000 units of freedom and said, good morning, guys and girls. Thank you, Letha. We got Jake, Zap 33. We got Bad Gal B, Zap 420. Nice number there, Bad Gal B. Sats and Sunsets, Zapped 1,600 units of freedom for lesson number 16. We got Conrad with a Conrad Zap of 963 freedom units, FUs, as we call them. And says, good morning, everyone. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Hey, we're not supposed to swear on these ones, Conrad. We're trying to keep it friendly for the tubes. I would like to see my F-bomb counter from yesterday. I don't know why I was in such a mood, but and we got one more that I missed here. Oh no, yeah, Chuck 1111 Live Free Zap and said, "What a time to be alive." Thank you, Chuck. All right. Well, we'll get to a couple comments here, and then we'll get on with the show. So we got Praetorian, we got Mark, who I just saw also sent in a zap of a Mark Zap 1650. Thank you, Mark. Scotty boy, is this the right place to buy the dip? Are we still? Yeah, I guess we're still dipping pretty hard, hey? Ginger, Sats and Sunsets. Nav says first, but he was not the first. He was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth. Joshua, morning rumble, like, left, see y'all on the big Noster. Thank you, Josh. What a guy that Joshua. Okay, so yes, how's let me know in the chat. Let me know how's the last 2 weeks for you been? Have you been buying or selling? Have you been a buyer or have you been a seller in these last 2 weeks? I'm hoping most have been buyers here, but you never know. Some people might have had to part with their sats. But yeah, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the lesson here right away, and then I'll get through all of these comments. We don't leave any comments behind here. But let me know. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Have you been sad? Have you been happy? Have your friends and family been texting you and saying, "What the hell did you get me into?" How have the last couple weeks been for you? Conrad said I've misspelled it on purpose. I figured that. I appreciate it. Then we didn't have to drop the what we might call a hard F. A hard F. Oh, I gotta tell Noster that we're live. That's gotta be something I do here. Okay, let's take a quick look at Noster. I just gotta sign in here real quick. I'm signed in on the Maple one right now. Okay, log out, log in. There we go. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mikey. Okay. So now what do I need to do? Update the title. Bitcoiners are built differently, and that is true. I'm guessing when I look at the comments here, there's going to be a lot of people saying they bought. But you never know. Maybe some people lost their shirts because they took out a big loan. What do we got? Fat Zap February. I like that one. That was Scotty Boy's idea. Okay, so the title has been updated. Now we just got to share it with Noster. And then we'll carry on with our lives. Noster, where are you? Hopefully everybody here watching the show is on Noster. Because if you have Bitcoin and you're not on Noster, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes you can be making right now. If you're a Bitcoiner and you're not on Noster yet, I think that's the biggest mistake that you're making. Noster's a pretty happening place, man. You can get all your news there. You can interact with other Bitcoiners just like you. You can, if you got good stuff to say, if people like what you're saying, you can actually receive Bitcoin for it. If you're making posts on, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, you don't get anything. You get likes. Likes are the fiat world. They're a fiat illusion. Likes. But Zaps, on the other hand, that's people actually getting value from your stuff and sending you value in return, real value, not illusionary value. So I'm a huge proponent, a huge fan of Noster. I've been using it for, I think my 1 year anniversary, or my 3 year anniversary is coming up this week. I'll have to take a look at that. Could we take a quick look at that? I don't know. Where would I find that? Noster.band. Maybe. No, that didn't work. I'm on, must be out of commission now. Details. Nostr. I don't know how to find it, but I'll find it and I will. I'll share it on Nostr. Okay, so let's get to the lesson today. How about that? 88 lessons, number 16 today. So we'll go through our little checklist here first. We'll do our checklist and then we'll get to her. Shout out to our new subscribers over on Rumble and YouTube. We had a good week. We had a video that kind of went viral. And so that always helps. I think we picked up a couple hundred subscribers from it, which is good. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, paper Bitcoin. Paper Bitcoin took a lot of flack for that video. Not a lot, but the usual amount. So a couple things here. Am I even showing this? No, I'm not. Sorry, folks. It's Tuesday. This is one of my, I'm new to streaming. Okay, so we read the title. Bitcoiners are built differently. We got a couple shout outs. Number one, whoever made that video that we started the show with, the Penguins, Alex Jones, Magellan, Justin Bieber, The Secrets of the Universe. Whoever made that video, I don't know who it was. But shout out to them. Shout out to Gigi. Gigi wrote a book called 21 Lessons. This book right here. 21 Lessons by our guy Gigi. What I've learned from falling down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. So there it is. One of my favorite books. It taught me a lot. I actually learned a lot from Gigi. He was one of my early mentors in Bitcoin, you might say. He changed the way I think about a lot of different things. And I'm hoping that, this channel and the things that I'm doing have that impact on others. But it is all kind of from Gigi. So big shout out to Gigi, who inspired a lot of what I do, and especially this series called 88 Lessons. Shout out to Michael Saylor, who said people spend 100,000 hours of their life earning money. They should spend at least 100 hours learning how to keep it. So the average person spends approximately 100,000 hours of their life working, earning money. And Saylor says they should spend at least 100 hours learning how to keep it. And so that's what we did here, or 88 lessons. So once the series wraps up, we're on number 16 out of 88 right now. But once the series is done, I'm hoping that you could send this to people who need it, who want to learn about Bitcoin, and they'll be able to learn all there is to know about Bitcoin in less than 100 hours. That's kind of the idea with this. And a big shout out to you. Because as we talked about at the top of the show here, it is not easy being a Bitcoiner. It is definitely not easy. It's not an easy road. You take a lot of shit. You get called a dipshit. You got to live through shit weeks like this one and the last one. Well, it's not really, though. That's kind of what we're talking about today. But sentiment-wise, ego-wise, you get tested. And we're here for the long haul. I believe that Bitcoin is a 5,000-year asset minimum, and we're 17 years into it. So you are a first-generation Bitcoiner here. Anybody who's watching this today, you are a first-generation Bitcoiner. And it's pretty special. Pretty unique. We're pretty lucky, I guess you'd say, to be here at this time. Because I think it's a couple hundred trillion maybe, the odds of being born. And the odds of being born at this time in history, where we have the new currency for the next 5,000 years, that's pretty lucky. So with great power comes great responsibility. And it's much more than just price watching. I'm going to explain why the price is much more of an illusion than anything. But there's more to it. You got to show up. You got to put in the work. You got to add value to the world, or take the value that you've already earned and put it into Bitcoin. And you got to figure out how to keep that too, because it really doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you have today. I think that's what a lot of people get wrong. It does not matter how much Bitcoin you have today. The only thing that matters is how much Bitcoin your family's going to have in 100 years from now. And so it's up to you. You're the first generation Bitcoiner here. You're the one who has to build the foundation. and make sure that there's no cracks, no gaps, no holes in that foundation. And then whatever you build on top of that, whatever your family builds on top of that in the future, it's going to be built on solid ground. But it's up to you. So shout out to you, because you are taking it seriously for the most part. I know there's some price watchers in the chat here, I'm sure. Haven't seen Bitcoin Baby yet, but for the most part, the people watching the show today understand the mission and are taking it seriously. So shout out to you. Also, shout out to the new members on YouTube this week. We had Imperator Orca. We had Vic London. We had Terry Crow, Daniel Bartlett, Machiavel, and Fab 10. So those were all the new members who joined YouTube this week. And again, I say this every week, but I don't give a shit if you like this video. I really don't. But what you can do is, if you enjoy it, you can leave a comment underneath so that other people see that there's value here. It's worth their time. And if you do feel like supporting the channel, if you've learned anything from me, if you enjoy what I do and you want to see more of it, you can join as a member on YouTube, and you actually get a special gift too. It's not just a support thing. You actually get every single episode of Bitcoin School. So for the first 40 days here of 2026, I've been posting a Bitcoin video every single day. And all those videos are available to members of the channel. So if you're a YouTuber and you like my stuff and you want to be part of Bitcoin School, you can join as a member and you're going to get to see all those videos. So shout out to the new members, and shout out to our sponsors. We actually don't have any sponsors, and we never will have any sponsors. If I have to get a sponsor, I'll think that I'll just shut down the channel instead. Because I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right that you have somebody else paying your salary and essentially dictating what you can and can't say. Even though some YouTubers and Bitcoiners will say, well, I say whatever I want anyways. Do you? There's always that fear in the back of your head. If I do something wrong or say something wrong, am I going to lose my monthly income here from my sponsors? So I don't have any sponsors. I took a different direction here. And a huge shout out to everybody who shows up every day for the live streams, the people who support this channel. And it means a lot to me. And I get it. I show up here every day. I've been doing this for the last 2.5 years now without any sort of guaranteed income, guaranteed paycheck. It's just a will to help people, a will to push this network forward and help grow it. And every morning I go through the same thing. I say, we're doing this for the kids, for the dogs, and for the average person. And I feel like that if I add enough value to the world here, that value will eventually flow back. And there's a lot of members in this community here who have been extremely supportive along that mission. So thank you to them. We don't have any sponsors, and therefore we don't have any filter. So if you do feel like you want to give some value back, you can send some to Arnie's wallet right here. That's a QR code on the screen. You can join as a member on YouTube, or you can join our Bitcoin School. I would recommend joining our Bitcoin School, which you can find at school.com/88sats, which is our official course is starting March 15, 2026. And it is going to be something. The whole goal for the course, Bitcoin School, is to have every single person going through that course in a multi-sig by the end of the year. That's our chief aim. Our definite chief aim is to have all the members of the school community in a multi-sig setup, which to me is the highest level of security you can have with your Bitcoin. So if you share the same vision as me, you take this 2026 seriously, you join school, you get your Bitcoin in a multi-sig, you can relax a little bit. You can start to enjoy yourself. You don't have to worry about, should I be storing my key here? What happens if this happens to my house? What if somebody breaks into my house? What if my family can't find my Bitcoin if something were to happen to me? I want to cover all those boxes. That's the point of Bitcoin School. So we have over 150 members in there already. And that course is going to officially start March 15th, 2026. But if you're here now, you're going to get a bunch of bonus content. We've been talking about mindset, health, Nostr, private keys, where to keep them, a lot of different things there. So consider joining school, and we'd love to have you there. And you know what? I actually decided this, and I forgot to mention it until right now. But I'm actually going to do a little giveaway because, leading up to the launch, March 15th, we got to get a little bit of hype around it. So what I'm actually going to do is, starting next week, I'm going to do one draw every week for a free membership to Bitcoin School, which is about a $210 value. $210 value. I think the value is actually 10x that myself, maybe even more, because this information that we're giving out here is truly invaluable. It's going to be the difference between you having your Bitcoin in 50 years from now or your 100 years from now or not. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to do our first giveaway next week. I'm going to do two things, actually. I'm going to give away that hat that we had a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to give away a free membership to Bitcoin School. And if you're already a member, I don't want to exclude current members, because actually you should be getting more props than anybody else. So what I'm going to do is, if you're interested, current members can join. You'll get added into the draw. And if you win, then I'll just refund your membership for the year. Because I don't want to screw over the current members. That doesn't sit right with me. So basically, how to enter that is you can just put, you can send me an email. You can send me an email and just put entry form in the subject line. And my email is 88sats@proton.me. So it is going to be, in my opinion, the best use of your time in 2026 is going through our Bitcoin School community. And there's going to be, what, 1, 2, 3, I think 3 or 4 winners who will get a free membership to it. So 88sats@proton.me, shoot me an email and just put entry form in the subject line. And then we'll do one draw every week for the next 3 or 4 weeks leading up to March 15th. And if you missed that, too bad. So sad. Okay, so the game plan today for the show is we're going to go through the lesson here in just a sec. And we're going to get through the comments, questions, anything going on in there. I said 2 gifts for you. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. But we're going to do our weekly smash buy, and we're going to give away some free Bitcoin. It's going to be a good day. And finally, a couple shout outs here. Obviously, we talked about the Visionaries community there, school.com/88sats, and bitcoincitadel.net. This is for, I would say, for serious Bitcoiners. If you got a decent sized stack and you don't really know what you're doing with it, check out bitcoincitadel.net. We can do a security audit with you, make sure that your keys are being stored properly, kind of a customized review of it. We can do multi-sig setup, or if you're somebody who's just looking to get your cold card set up and you don't want to do anything wrong with it, kind of have somebody hold your hand through it. Because that's the thing, right? And that's kind of the purpose of Bitcoin School and everything that I'm doing here is that you get a cold card, you get one of these. This sexy device. You get one of these units in the mail. Pretty easy to do. Anybody can buy one of these. This is the best place to store your private key to the Bitcoin. And you can find easily, you can go on the YouTube and you can find out how to set this up. But it's impossible to know all there is to know in a half an hour video. I'm years into this thing and I'm still learning things about it and thinking about things differently. And I kind of take a different approach to this whole, actually, you know what? I'm going to share this here too, because I think that there's a lot of people who could use this. Two things I'm going to share with you right now, maybe 3. But the first thing is I kind of take a different approach to this whole thing. You know, obviously I'm technical enough to know what's what, but I take a different approach, I think, than a lot of people. It's more of like I don't even know what you'd call it. It's a unique approach to everything, because I've thought through this stuff in my mind thousands of times. Lots of visualization around Bitcoin security and saying, okay, well, if I do this, what are the implications of that? If I leave this here, what's the implications of that? So the value that I add is we can figure out exactly, you know, what your threat model is. We can figure out what kind of setup you have, what kind of setup you want, and then we can make a plan to protect your private keys. I think that's the main thing there. What I provide is much more than just how to set up a cold card. Because again, that information is for free on YouTube. pretty easy to do. If you want me to help you through it, I can do that. But I think the real value that I have is thinking through where you store things. Where do you keep the device? Where do you keep the private keys? Do you have a backup of that? Do you have a passphrase? Where are you keeping the passphrase? What about the PIN code? So again, there's thousands of different parts to this that most people just completely miss. And that's the kind of the value that I have. So it's more of like a philosophy. No, I don't know. I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's much deeper, you might say. Oh shit, I got it. Okay. Missed that. Okay. What was I doing? So yeah, I have a kind of a cool option on my website here. You can actually book me for half an hour, an hour. And I also do this thing called value for value. So you can book a call without a prepayment, and we can go through any questions you have, and you can pay me whatever you feel is worth to you. So I just shared that in the chat for you. I also have another gift for you today. If you are somebody who's new to Bitcoin, somebody who's been here for like less than 2 years, I'd say, you can check out this course that I did for free course. It's called the 11-Day Bitcoin Journey. And I'm going to be doing, I'm going to add some videos to this too in the next couple weeks. But right now you got 11 episodes for free. Talking about private key, talking about best practices, talking about sending and receiving Bitcoin. So I'll throw that in the chat as well. That's the free 11-day course. And I'm going to put these links in the show notes after as well. And then the last one here is our school. I'll put a link to school in there if anybody wants to join. It'll be the best investment of your life. It's not an expense. It's not like a Netflix subscription. This is, again, if you're taking this stuff seriously, which you should be, this is going to fill the gaps for you. That's the purpose of this course, is to fill the gaps. So that's it. That's what I got for you today. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Just kidding. We're just getting started here. Okay, so I just got to find this spreadsheet I'm looking for. Where are you? Where the heck are you? 1, 2. Okay. These are the two that I need. Okay, 88 lessons. I'll share this. Oh, damn, that didn't work as I wanted. The hell was that? There we go. Okay, and then one more thing I got to do. Okay, so if you're actually in the Bitcoin school, you're going to see some of the stuff I talked about yesterday, and I'm going to be talking about it as well today in Bitcoin school. So good news for you is you get to hear this twice. And I do think that this is very important information to have. The lens that you should be looking at Bitcoin through, in my opinion. 88 lessons. Okay. So let's get to her. Bitcoiners are built differently. Let me take a sip of this first. Actually, let me take this off. Sorry. I got to juggle a couple different things here because obviously we got the live stream right now, but we also do a recorded version of this specific lesson on Saturdays. All right. So where are we going with this? Bitcoin stack. All right. So lesson number 16 is going to be titled Bitcoiners Cannot Lose. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. And last week we talked about how to store your private keys, how to be thinking about that stuff. I called the most important course or episode that we've done so far. And I'm going to do a follow-up of that next week and maybe even another one the week after. But I wanted to break it up a little bit here because we've seen the price in the last couple of weeks of Bitcoin go from 90K all the way down to 60K. And if you haven't been in Bitcoin that long, that's a bit of a shock to your world, you might say. And so what I'm going to be talking about today is just kind of a different way to be thinking about Bitcoin, changing your mindset and your perspective around Bitcoin. So I'm going to walk through 3 different things here, 3 different kind of like thought experiments, you might say. as it relates to Bitcoin that hopefully will just get you looking at this asset a little bit differently than you do today. I think that's the point, because when you're equipped with this kind of knowledge, you're a lot more prepared to handle those swings, both up and down. And I think that there's going to be a lot of up in the future, but there's also going to be a lot of down. That's just the nature of where we are right now. And if you think about it that way, the one thing that's certain, I think, for the next decade here in Bitcoin is that it's going to be very volatile. It's going to be very volatile. And that's why I think that obviously it's important to get as many of these scarce units as possible, Satoshis, but you also got to be in the right state of mind. You have to have the right mindset heading into this. And the reason why it's going to be so volatile is because there's just such a misunderstanding around Bitcoin. So it was hilarious to go through some of the FUD that came out last week about the Epstein stuff and the ties to Epstein and how people think that that has a negative impact on Bitcoin for some reason. But it doesn't really matter who created Bitcoin. It really doesn't. It could have been Jeffrey Epstein. It could have been Hitler. It could have been Santa Claus. It could have been anybody. It could have been Putin. Doesn't matter though, because Bitcoin is a fully decentralized network. Nobody has control over the Bitcoin network. It runs on consensus. And anybody who's running a node, then this decentralized network, they're the ones who get to dictate the direction of this going forward. So it doesn't matter who it was, but that's the kind of stuff that as you go along in Bitcoin, you start to recognize some of this FUD. And it seems like every cycle or every couple of years, there's new FUD in Bitcoin. Last year was quantum. This year it's Epstein. But I'm actually bullish on that fact because Epstein and the ties around Epstein, the trafficking stuff, all that led me to Bitcoin. Because when I realized that there was all these sick things happening in the world, it just blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. That was about 6 years ago now. And I still have some of those thoughts and images kicking around in my mind, unfortunately. And that's why I haven't even looked at this stuff that came out in the last couple of weeks. Because I don't want to. I know what's happening. And when I came to that realization myself, when I was like, and at the time when I discovered this stuff, it was all just a conspiracy. It was a big conspiracy theory that all this stuff was happening. But I knew it wasn't because you could tell, you could see. And once you kind of get familiar with connecting dots and looking kind of past the mainstream narrative, it was very obvious to me that this stuff was happening. And so when I realized that, I thought, if I'm being lied to about this, what else am I being lied to about? And then I started going down all these different rabbit holes. And one of the rabbit holes led me to silver instead of fiat because of the ties to fiat and the central banking and the money printer. So I got into silver, which eventually led me into crypto, which eventually got me to Bitcoin. But it was strictly because of this that I started asking questions. And when you start asking questions, you start going down these different rabbit holes. And again, shout out to Gigi, who inspired this whole series here with his book, 21 Lessons, what I've learned from falling down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. So I didn't really fall down the Bitcoin rabbit hole myself. I fell down a bunch of different rabbit holes. And those rabbit holes led me to Bitcoin. So I think that short term, it's going to have a negative impact on Bitcoin. But for anybody who understands Bitcoin and realizes that it doesn't matter who actually created Bitcoin, then what you see is there's going to be a new crop of Bitcoiners coming in here because there's going to be people all around the world now starting to ask questions because the whole paradigm that they thought the world has been completely flipped on its head. And I'm guessing most people here watching the show today have kind of went through that same thing. So long term or short term, it's going to be negative for Bitcoin, but long term, I believe it's going to be a very good thing for Bitcoin because it's going to create a lot of people, a lot of Bitcoiners. It's going to force a lot of people to ask questions, look at themselves in the mirror and say, do I want to continue living in that system? Do I want to continue funding that system? What are my other options? And for anybody who's willing to put in some time, it's going to lead them to Bitcoin. So over this next decade, there's going to be people piling into Bitcoin, I believe. And we're kind of at the point now where nobody really understands what this asset is for the most part. I think that a reasonable guess here would be about 100,000 people on this planet actually have a good understanding of Bitcoin. And if you think about how many people there are here, they tell us are here, 8 billion. I think it's much less than that. But anyways, 100,000 people versus 8 billion future customers of Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin's a solution to a problem that all 8 billion people have. If you're anybody on this planet, you will benefit from Bitcoin. You will, because it's the best place to store your value. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody. Some people go to work every day and they add value to the world and they need a place to store that value. And Bitcoin is the best place to store that value. It's also the best for money. If I want to pay somebody, I don't have to worry about Visa. I don't have to worry about my bank. I don't have to worry about anybody. It's a peer-to-peer network. So it's a better store of value. It's a better money. And the best part is that we know how many units exist. We know how many units are going to exist next week. And so you can reliably measure everything else against Bitcoin, which also makes it the best unit of account. And so if you think about the fact that there's only 100,000 people maybe who understand Bitcoin, and there's 8 billion potential future clients and customers of Bitcoin, users of Bitcoin, then there's a pretty good chance that we're going to go up at some point. But it's going to be very volatile. It's going to be a very volatile ride. And so kind of prefacing this today, that's the one thing that I would say is like the assumptions here, the assumptions on what I'm going to talk about is that Bitcoin continues. No, I should say this. Bitcoin doesn't go to zero. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea, what's going to happen, what's going to play out in the future. There could be something that happens where Bitcoin goes to zero. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that's not a possibility. But my assumption is that Bitcoin doesn't go to zero, because if Bitcoin doesn't go to zero, that means it's going to infinity. Truly. And if you understand the supply and demand dynamics around this, you'll see that and maybe try to visualize that. Right? If you think about 100,000 people who understand Bitcoin out of 8 billion, there's a lot of room for growth there. And if you think about how many Bitcoin have been mined, which is 20 million out of the total 21 million. So this would be the future demand, the difference between 8 billion and 100,000, basically 8 billion, and the future supply, which is 1 million. Because this 20 million coins, these have already been mined. They're already out there. Somebody already has the key to this Bitcoin. Over the next 120 years, there's only 1 million coins left to be mined. So that's the whole disconnect here. Basically, 8 billion people are going to be fighting over that last million Bitcoin. So again, assuming Bitcoin doesn't go to zero, everything that we produce here, everything that we have is all going to be repriced in Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin's truly, absolutely scarce, that's why they say Bitcoin will go up forever, because there's going to be constant, forever demand of this asset, and there's only so much supply of it. And if you understand economics, even at a very basic level, you can see why that's true. And so when you think about it this way, your current Bitcoin stack today represents your past value. So the past work that you've done. You look at your Bitcoin wallet right now, if you're 100% allocated to Bitcoin, that number represents all the past value that you've added to the world. The shitty thing is, though, is that humans are becoming less valuable, because as technology improves, we're going to start using robots instead of people on production lines. We're going to start using robots to mow our grass instead of humans. We're going to start using AI to manage our life instead of humans. So humans are becoming less valuable. So in other words, all the value that we've already accrued, that's probably the most value that we're going to have as humans here. And we've already have that in Bitcoin. And so I'm going to explain a couple different things here about how I think about Bitcoin. And I think this is a useful way to do it. So again, kind of our thesis here overall is that eventually 1 sat will equal $1. So today you can buy basically 1,500 sats for $1. And the assumption that we're making here is that eventually you're going to be able to buy 1 sat for $1. So very basic math would suggest that at a minimum here, I would say, kind of a starting point almost, Bitcoin will go up 1,500 times from here. That's the thesis. Because again, if Bitcoin doesn't go to zero, it's going to infinity. There's no limit on how high this thing can go. And it's funny to me that people say, well, there's only $900 trillion worth of assets in the world, so the math there doesn't add up. But you're still thinking in the old system. That system is very controlled, very manipulated, and a complete illusion. There is no limit on what we can do here. The only limit that we have as human beings is our imagination. That's the only limit. There's no number on that. And so I really believe that the starting point for Bitcoin is going to be 1 cent equals 1 sat. And then we're going to get to $1 equals 1 sat. And then I really believe that if we look at this, if we look at our time chain calendar here, this is the crazy thing to me. Because again, right now you can purchase 1,446 sats for $1. In my mind, again, this is just my opinion here, this would make way more sense to me if this was reversed. If it actually took $1,445 for 1 sat. Of course, then Bitcoin would be in the billions of dollars, but that's a much more realistic representation of what's happening here to me. And again, if you are somebody who's fortunate enough and lucky enough to be here right now, you get to take advantage of that swing. Because right now you can buy 1,400 sats for $1. And in my opinion, it's the reverse of that. It should be $1,444 for 1 sat. Why? Because dollars don't have any value. Dollars don't take any sort of work to create. Their cost of production is zero. Sats, real units, they take physical energy to produce. There's only a certain amount of them that will ever exist. And we know the exact amount of those today, tomorrow, and 100 years from now. Because of the difficulty adjustment in Bitcoin. So when you think about it that way, it's like, okay, that's the thesis. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about an individual here. Sorry, I had these kind of, okay, let's just do this, whatever. I made this yesterday for the Bitcoin school, and I made a couple changes at the end. So we'll see what sense we can make of this. So let's get this. This is kind of a distraction. Who's this? Chris Daughtry playing in the background? What? Chris Daughtry. What a song. Okay, so this is what is this? You go to work every day. I make these spreadsheets while I'm trying to do a video, and sometimes I make errors. But Pobody's perfect here. So you go to work every day. And this is kind of like a monthly representation. I think that's why I had it here. So I would say that this is kind of like the above average for a lot of people. I think the average salary here in Canada is about $65,000. So this is way high. This would be $120,000. This is almost double the average. But I just want to kind of talk through this. So that's your income. That's your salary here. And most people would have expenses, mortgage, car payment, student loan, maybe groceries, gas, electricity, all your expenses. So you have a net income there. Again, I think this is very high, but that's what we came up with here. So $5,200. So every day, that's $173 net per day. That's $5,200 divided by 30. So $173 per day. So in other words, let me expand this a little bit here. So when the price of Bitcoin's at $100,000, that means that you're essentially taking home 173,000 sats per day. Because that's how you have to be thinking about this, right? That's how you should be thinking about Bitcoin. Is you go to work, you add value to the world, you pay off your expenses, and you're left with something. And that something is what you want to store in Bitcoin. This isn't it's not a speculative thing where you're going to just buy today and get rich in 6 months from now. You're storing your energy because it's the best way to store your energy. So when Bitcoin's at $100,000, you exchange that $173 and and you get 173,000 sats. Bitcoin drops to 70K, like we've seen recently. That same $173, you're doing the same job, same hours, same effort, except now you're getting 247,000 sats. So that's what changes here. The total number of real units change based on your net income here per day. So that's a pretty big swing there, right? Especially if we go back to the thesis that eventually one day, one of these sats is going to have the purchasing power of $1. You can see there that that's a pretty big spread per day. 173,000 versus 247,000. Imagine that, looking out 50 years from now. And then even crazier, if you go to Bitcoin at 1 million, look how much that drops. So when Bitcoin gets to $1 million, everybody wants Bitcoin to go up and everybody wants to hit this and that. And it's like, do you understand what's actually going to happen there when that happens? That exact same amount of money that you're making every day, today you're getting 247,000 sats. Bitcoin at 1 million, you'd be able to convert that $173 into 17,000. That's a big variance there. Again, if you're measuring these units in something that's going to have the purchasing power of $1 in the future, that's the whole thesis with this. That's a big variance there. You're getting paid way more right now, doing the exact same work in real units. And then Bitcoin at 90 million. And by the way, you can kind of see up here, you can see the equation that I used. But you take how much you're buying, which is 173, you divide that by the price of Bitcoin, fiat price of Bitcoin, and you times it by 100 million. So when Bitcoin's at $90 million, instead of getting 247,000 units, you're getting 192 for the exact same job, exact same work, exact same energy exerted. And if you look at that stretched over a year, this is where things really get crazy. So even the difference here, if we just focus on these two right now, because this is kind of where we are right now. But when Bitcoin's at 100K and you're converting your time and energy into Bitcoin, in a year, you get 63 million sats when the price is 100K. When the price of Bitcoin is 70,000, when that's the exchange rate, you get paid 90 million sats. And again, I'm going to keep saying this, but it's important to look at these in units, in dollars, not just sats. It doesn't matter what it's worth today. It's not what we're focused on here. In 1 year, your salary changes by about 30 million units between 100K and 70K. That's massive. Imagine that. Bitcoin only goes from 70 to 100K. You lost $30 million this year, your salary. If you're thinking about it through a Bitcoin lens, that's the reality of it. Bitcoin moves from 70K, where we are today, even to just 100K. Your salary goes down $27 million. In other words, times ain't that bad. You're doing the exact same work right now, and you're getting paid way more in real units. So that's the first part here, is that the moral there, I guess you'd say, is that Bitcoiners cannot lose. Bitcoiners cannot lose. Why? Because when price is up, our net worth and purchasing power goes up. When price is down, we get paid more. We get paid more real units. Bitcoiners cannot lose. And when you understand that, you don't have any bad days in Bitcoin. Again, you can see this. You might be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, Jor. But when you really understand this at like a deep level, you really don't have any bad days. Just think about that. When price is up, our net worth goes up, our purchasing power goes up. When the price is down, based on what we just showed there, we get paid more real units. You go to work, you do the exact same amount of work, you get paid more in real units. That's a mental unlock, my friends. That's a mental unlock. Okay, so we're going to do something similar here. So I got a couple different things to share here. So we're doing this per hour now. So the second part of this is you go to work every month, should be day, but these are monthly amounts that I put here. Your income for the month, a little bit less, I guess, in this case, but you got 5,000. I would say that this is kind of more in line with like the average salary. $5,000 per month. Your expenses are 4,000, and your net income, what you want to store, is $1,000. So per day, that's $33, which is really sad to say. People say that we're not slaves. And the worst part is like for most people, expenses are probably 6,000 and net income is 1,000. So people are going about $33 into debt every day. I think this is a more realistic one. And it's nobody's fault. It's because our governments have printed so much money that everything's so expensive and our expenses are way up, even though our income hasn't really changed. So Bitcoin, I mean, it does a lot of things. It teaches you how to save. It teaches you about value-added economics. It teaches you a lot of different things. And I feel like even the average person, without even using Bitcoin as their savings tool, if they actually just applied some of the concepts from Bitcoin to their life, their income would change, their expenses would change. They would look at things differently. And I think most people here would attest to that. So anyways, we got net income here. This is what you're storing. So $33 per day. This is after tax, after mortgage, after car, after all your expenses. You got $33 a day, which is $4 per hour. 33 divided by 8. So then you take your $4 per hour and you times that by the sats here, 1,400 sats. So $4 per hour means you're making about 6,000 sats per hour based on today's exchange rate. So the point of what I want to share here, the moral of this story is that you get to set your own salary in Bitcoin. You get to set your own salary in Bitcoin. And this is kind of the number that we're focused on here. Your per hour, after tax, after expenses, the money, the value that you're trying to store. This number right here. So you get to set your own salary in Bitcoin. What? How? Well, let me explain here. So today, if you took that $4.17 that you earned and you spent it, that's your salary. $4.17 per hour. If you hold on to that and you wait until Bitcoin gets to 100K, your salary actually just went from $4 per hour to $6 per hour. And the reason for that is because you take this number, these sats, and you base it at the 100K mark here. So 5,900 sats, this is the number that you're making per hour. But if you hold on to those sats and Bitcoin goes up, then your salary goes up with it. If you hold on to those sats and let Bitcoin hit 500K, then all of a sudden your $4 per hour salary turns into $30 per hour. And again, this is net. People maybe just showed up. They're like, who the hell gets paid $4 per hour? Well, some people on the planet actually do, or less than that. But the point is here is that's your net. That's the amount that you actually have to store. The rest is going to your expenses, taxes, bullshit. So you hold on to that $4. You don't need it today, so you save it. You hold on to that because the whole thing here, and I'm going to put this in bold too, is that your salary is set only once you spend the Bitcoin. Your salary is set only once you spend the Bitcoin. So if you hold on to this $4 that you got back at $70,000 Bitcoin right here, You hold on to that till it's 500K. All of a sudden, that work that you did back at 70K is now the equivalent of $30 per hour. Your salary 6x'd just because you held on to it. You didn't spend it. You're storing it properly in a proper battery. Bitcoin at $1 million. That $4 salary, net salary that you were earning, is now $60 per hour. Same work. You've already done the work. You're just storing that energy that you exerted, the value that you added. You're storing that. And so you can see here the trend. The longer you hold on to it in the perfect battery that we know as Bitcoin, the more your salary goes up. So you get to set your own salary. Unfortunately, you don't get to tell your boss how much you're going to get paid. You get paid whatever you're worth. That's the reality. People bitch about that, but that's the reality. You get paid whatever you're worth. So you can't really argue that today. But what you can do is you can take whatever you have left over and you can store that in Bitcoin, and you can essentially raise your salary over time. That exact same work that you did at this, if you hold on to it, it's actually much higher. So then Bitcoin at 100 million, you can see that you're actually getting paid $6,000 per hour. If you manage to hold on to that, the salary, the net salary that you earned back at 70K, if you can hold on to those sats, and when you spend it, when Bitcoin hits 100 million, that salary was actually worth $6,000 per hour. So I hope that makes sense. Again, this is we figured out the per day, the per hour, and this is the total amount. It's actually, you get more than this because this is based on 1429 sats per dollar. That was yesterday. But right now it's 1450. So these numbers are actually low. I wonder what would happen here if we did this. Let's go, what's the actual today? It's 14, what was it, 1450? So it won't change much. This will be the same. This will be 6.04. Yeah, so it's not that much. I mean, this isn't 6.04 per hour. This times by 5, so 30. So yeah, you get $100 extra per hour just by the change in exchange rate from the last 24 hours. So the moral here is that you want to store your energy in the right battery, and that's Bitcoin. And the longer you're able to hold on to it, the longer you can kind of resist some of the temptations in our consumer economy out there, the more you're actually going to get paid in real terms. You get to set your own salary if you're storing it in Bitcoin. It's a pretty cool concept. Pretty cool concept. And I thought I had one more here. Okay, so let's do this one here. So this is kind of more, I would say more realistic. This one was net. This is going to be the same kind of idea here. So you got your income of $5,000. But again, people's brains don't really like hearing that they only make $4 per hour. That's kind of a trick that they tell you. Hey, you're making 100K, but you got to pay $50,000 in taxes, and you got to pay for somewhere to live, and you got to pay for a vehicle to get to work, and you got to pay for food, and you got to pay for health insurance, and you got to pay for energy to heat your house. So the salary is, it just gets people excited, but it's nowhere near what they actually get paid. And then they take CPP out of it, NEI, and all this other bullshit. So I figured it'd be good to do this just because this is kind of more what we're used to here. So $5,000 per month, $166 per day, $20 per hour. So this is basically if you signed a contract saying you make $20 per hour, this is what it would look like. So that's worth, well, we'll just leave that as yesterday. I don't want to mess anything up here. So that $20 today, you can convert into 30,000 sats. And so basically, if you take that and you spent it today, then your wage would be $20 per hour. And that's how most people live. They get money, they spend money. So that's their salary. But if they held on to it till Bitcoin, if they stored it in Bitcoin and they waited till Bitcoin hit 100K, they would actually be getting $30 per hour, because it doesn't matter when you earn it. It only matters when you spend it. That's the concept here. It doesn't matter when you earn it. It only matters when you spend it. So you hold on to it, Bitcoin at 100K, you got $30 per hour. You hold on to it, Bitcoin hits 500K, all of a sudden that same salary that you earned is worth $150 per hour just because you stored it properly. Bitcoin hits a million. All of a sudden that $20 per hour salary that you were getting paid is now $300 per hour because you carried it effectively into the future. And instead of storing it in fiat or just spending it, fiat melts. Fiat goes the opposite direction of this. And that's what's so unique about Bitcoin is it's completely backwards from everything that we know. And that's why I feel like I have to do these episodes here, is because the majority of us are still stuck in this fiat paradigm. And they don't have any ability to see, you know, the end result of this through this lens. And then all of a sudden you hold on till Bitcoin hits 100 million, which really isn't that crazy. You know, you consider somebody who bought Bitcoin for $1 and held on to it till it hit 100K. Okay, what's that? 100,000x? It's doable. And I think that this is kind of just where Bitcoin begins when we hit $100 million, because that's how it's designed. It's designed to have forever demand and a fixed supply. And again, if you understand basic economics, that means that the price, the exchange rate is just going to go up and up and up. So again, you take that $20 per hour salary, that's somebody who's working at the library. And they just take that, whatever they have, and they put it into Bitcoin. And they wait until Bitcoin hits $100 million or they pass it down to their kids. All of a sudden, that $20 salary turned into $30,000 per hour. Could you imagine telling somebody who's making $20 per hour, hey, if you just store your salary in Bitcoin and you wait, you're going to be making $30,000 per hour? You don't have to be any smarter. You don't have to take any courses. You don't have to put in any more time than you already do today. But you can convert your salary from $20 into $30,000. That's the unlock here, my friends. Okay, so what's this? I don't know what that is. Oh, that was from last week. Okay, so that's what I got for you today, my friends. We got Creed playing right now in the background. That might be a good or bad sign. I don't know. Song's over even. Might be a good sign. Who knows? Okay, so I want to leave you with 3 things here before we go. 3 things. So number 1, my free 11-day Bitcoin journey course. I would say that this is for anybody who's somewhat new to Bitcoin. If you've been in Bitcoin for like less than 2 years, free 11-day Bitcoin journey course. And if you're watching this, I shared the link a little while ago. But if you're watching this live, I'll throw it in the chat so you can access it for free. And if you're watching this later or on Saturday, I'll have these either in the live chat if I'm watching with you, or I'll have it in the pinned comments. And if you're watching this after too, like on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, these will also be in the pinned comments. The other thing here is a one-on-one session. One-on-one sessions. And again, I kind of take a very unique approach to Bitcoin security from what I've seen other people doing anyways. Kind of take a look at what you have in terms of Bitcoin. I don't want to know the amount, but just to kind of give an idea of like how much of your total portfolio you have in Bitcoin, how you're currently storing it. And then we talk about, you know, what to do next, where to store your private key, where to store your device, where to store your passphrase, how to create a passphrase, how to access your passphrase, how many wallets you should have in Sparrow, where you keep your PIN code, if you want to geographically disperse them, what you do with it, who you should be trusting, who you shouldn't be trusting, all this kind of stuff. So you can book a one-on-one session with me, and you can either do half hour, hourly, or you can do something that I call a value for value, which is you don't actually have to pay anything up front. You can just pay me whatever you think the meeting was worth to you. And then Bitcoin School. Bitcoin School launches on March 15th, 2026. If you're a member in there or you join right away, you actually get 2.5 months worth of bonus content. So we have 40 videos in there already today, plus all the ones we did from 2025. So over 400 videos in there today. The amount that you have to pay for that is criminally underpriced, but that's okay. And not only that, I'm also going to give away 3 or 4 free memberships to Bitcoin School over these next couple weeks leading up to that. So I just put all those links in the chat. I'll have all these links in the pinned comments. And the other thing too is that I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to give away, I don't know if it's 3 or 4. I should look at a calendar here quickly. It'll be, okay, so we're going to do the first video. We're going to do the first giveaway next week, which will be the 17th and then the 24th. So we should have 4. We should have 4, damn. 4 free memberships to Bitcoin School. And this also is applicable to current members. So don't like wait and say, oh shit, I'm just going to wait to see if I have, if I get a free membership. This is applicable to current members too. So if you win and you're a current member, I'll just refund your membership fee. So this is just to kind of build some awareness, some traction leading up to March 15th when we start Bitcoin School. But the purpose of Bitcoin School, our, what do we call it? Definite, this is a Napoleon Hill. Our definite chief aim for Bitcoin School is to have everyone in a multi-sig. That's the definite chief aim. So again, this isn't setting up a multi-sig, going through the whole process. You can hire somebody to do it for a couple $1,000, but you still might have no idea what the hell you're doing. This isn't something that you can learn in an hour or two. And that's kind of the whole purpose of Bitcoin School, is that we take it very slow. We don't miss anything. We don't leave anything out. And again, as a first generation Bitcoiner, this is on you. You're the one in your family who has to take the time, take the energy to build the foundation here. And you want to make sure that that foundation doesn't have any cracks in it. And that's what the Bitcoin School is for. So if you want to enter this, I should have put that, I guess. If you want to enter, you can send an email to 88sats to enter. Email 88sats@proton.me and put entry or entry form in subject line. And we're going to do a draw every day for the next, or every week for the next 4 weeks for 4 free memberships to Bitcoin School. And again, if you're already a current member, you can still enter this as well, because I don't want to, you know, that feels wrong to me. Somebody who's already paying to be there, who's already taken the action, they shouldn't be penalized. So this is going to be available and applicable to current members as well. 150 people in there. So you get the Bitcoin School course, which is a video every day, different Bitcoin topic. You get all the other courses I have in there. The 365 days of Bitcoin, the 21-day course, the generational wealth course. You get access to 150, and there's going to be much more in there in the coming months. Bitcoiners from all around the world. And it helps, man. Like when you're going through shit like we went through in the last couple of weeks, you have no idea how valuable that is to have other people who think like you, who have your best interests and help you get through this, the lows, you might say, in Bitcoin. So that's all included in there, all included. And that's it. So if you're watching this on Saturday, we're going to end it here. Hope you're having a great day, and I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you soon. And for everybody else, we're going to keep rolling here. So we got a lot to get through here. That was a long lesson. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it, though. We're going to start with Nostr, because we love Nostr. What's going on in the Nostrs? More Nickelback here. Nice. Okay, wow. We got Duncan said, bought the dip. Bought a lot of the dip. Had to add collateral to my loan, which is a stinker. No margin call yet, though. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy that we even came close to margin calls with loans. Good on you, though. I'm sure you learned a good lesson in the meantime. But I'm glad you got to buy some dip there, Duncan. He's up to 88 sats. Bad Gal B says, bought the dip for sure. Scotty Boy says, the DSA is looking tough to make tonight. Yeah, I know, Scotty. It's okay. We got Paula. Wow. Paula from, what's the channel? Bitcoin Paula? Bitcoin with Paula? I was actually on her channel. Morning, Paula. Good to see you in the Noster chat. I haven't seen you in there before. Maria's here. Maria 2000. A Noster legend herself, zapped 5,000 units of freedom for the show today. Thank you, Maria. And David T says, good morning, and zapped one of our favorite numbers here, 420 units of freedom. Thank you, David T. Thank you, Maria. And that's Noster. Thank you, Noster, for being in attendance today. All right, let's check on the chat. So we're going to give away some free Bitcoin here in probably about 5 minutes from now, I'd say. Some free biddies heading out the door. OAU, I don't know what the heck that means. That was for you, Scotty. I don't know what that means. That must be Japanese. Sincere. Lori's here. Chuck's here. Gronky Tonk Man. Mika. Sun in your face. It's actually not sun in my face. It's my red light. I kind of like the glow though. It looks like sun on my face, doesn't it? I'm kind of wired most mornings here. I have some espresso, and I kind of like this because it kind of mellows me out a little bit. It gets me speaking a little bit slower. And, it looks like the sun's here. Sun's not out though today. Forgot to do our weather check today. Just kind of a day. It's nice weather. I think it's only about -5. Pretty nice day in February here. Crystal clear. All right, we got Hawaii mashup. Hey, I haven't seen Hawaii mashup for a while. Aloha to you. Perry Hunter, have a light day. Thanks for your efforts. Thank you, Perry. The Lord is my shepherd, shall not want. Good morning, Bitcoin fam. Stripes is here. Zebra. Oh, what happened here? Put a wallet address in. I know I'm old and can't remember how to zap. What was that about? I guess if you're watching this on your phone, I forgot to mention that too. If you're watching this on your phone and you want to support the channel and you can't zap the QR code on there, you can send to Jor at Rizfall. I should be putting this in the freaking videos. I always forget. Too much going on, I'm a one-man show, one-man band. All right, what else we got here, folks? Lori's buying. Chuck's buying. Sin says my fiat account hates me right now. Nav's buying. Gronky Tonk. Between DCA and mining, I'm getting about $35 worth of sats per day. Nice. Look at this. Sats and sunsets. My River DCA has been supercharged for the last 12 days. Actually made a video, and I was surprised there wasn't more comments like that, but somebody was like, so this is an ad for River, because I was talking about paper Bitcoin, and River being the only exchange that I'm aware of that doesn't rehypothecate. Well, I shouldn't say that. They kind of prove they don't rehypothecate Bitcoin. So if you're in the US, definitely consider using River there, because you can do a supercharged DCA, which means that you set up a DCA and it's intelligent in the sense that when the price is going down, it actually takes more money, which is cool. When price is up or normal, you're buying your normal DCA. But when the price drops by a certain percentage, it actually supercharges it automatically, automated. So just another reason to use River. I just shared the link in the chat. I'll put the link to River in the pinned comments too, with the other ones. Scotty says, today's song says it all for me. What's the new song today, Scotty? Sats and Sunset says, added a few million sats to my strike loan to make sure the LTV stays healthy. Nice. Good play. Why is the price under 100K? It's weird. I'm still stacking weekly. Solar. Solar's in the house. Harry's in the house. VHF's in the house. Santino. Look at that. The legend himself, Santino, one of our members on YouTube. I talked about Bitcoin School starting March 15th, but I should also mention that if you join as a member like Santino here, you get the little S there, but you also get all the Bitcoin School videos. So I update them to school, I update them to YouTube, and I update them to Patreon. So depending on your level of involvement, if you want like a community to be a part of, school is probably your best bet. But if you just want to watch the videos, you can actually join as a member on YouTube, and you can get them for a significantly cheaper monthly rate. So something to consider there for anybody. All right. Lots of commentary here from VHF. How many people are on the planet you think have not 8 billion? I'd say closer to 5. 5 billion. You guys should buy. Agreed. Live Good with Sabian says, well, that average is rich people talk. I've been making less than $10,000 a year in Colorado. Really? I guess if you don't have a whole lot of expenses. Life is also pretty expensive in Canada. Sketchucations here. Is this based on how much Bitcoin you hold? How many Bitcoin you're using to give this example? We won't be alive when Bitcoin is at 100 million. Says you. Says you. Yoga says your explanation of Bitcoin is very simple. If it were all about that, no one would believe in Bitcoin. Even if I had 1 million, I wouldn't believe in Bitcoin. Nice comment there, whatever the hell that means. Hands off my mail. Jen's here. Says, George dropping bars. The value doesn't matter when you earn it. It matters when you spend it. Bingo. Bingo. Jen gets it. Jen has her green light on. I would say that Jen is one of the 100,000 people on this planet who understand Bitcoin. Good to see you, Jen. Here's a new face. Minimum salary in Israel is 2,000 USD per month. You have a minimum salary there? Interesting. Yogi says, in my country, many people have taken Bitcoin courses like this, but they only get losses. Another comment that makes no sense. Yogi, you should have paid attention maybe to the lesson instead of yapping. It would have been smart, because clearly you don't understand what I'm saying here. You don't lose in Bitcoin. It's the whole point. Great lesson. Thank you, Sabian. Gronky Tonk says, so I can pay you. Okay, so I got Sats and Sunsets gifted 188 Sats radio membership. Who got it? Who is the winner of that? Let's take a quick peek here. Oh, there's Gronky right there. Gronky sent a row of ducks, 2,222 units of freedom. Thank you, Gronky Tonk man. And thank you, Sats and Sunsets. Who got the membership here? Tyler 5541 received a gift membership by Sats and Sunsets. So Tyler will get all the videos on Bitcoin School. Video every day talking about a different subject within Bitcoin. Oh, Polly, I missed you here. Daisy sent a mouse. She just caught over to Arnie. I don't have Arnie's wallet here. Sorry, buddy. I'll check as soon as I'm done here. Jen says, Jor, I want to pay for the course to support you, so I'm not going to enter. Okay, no problem. I appreciate that, Jen. Very much. Jen's one of the biggest supporters of the channel here. She's pretty high on the list, the leaderboard. Thank you, Jen. Okay, what did I miss here? Confirm I got it. Yes, thank you, Gronky Tonk. Appreciate that, buddy. It's all that is possible with DoorDash. Some days I rake in a hefty $50. Not many people ordering out in Colorado, or what? You must have some more salary than that, though, coming in, no? Gronky Tonk, I DCA through Strike. I like that I can use Lightning and they partner with BitKey. Nice. Big shout out here to Sats and Sunsets. Appreciate that, my friend. Those are very helpful for the channel here. The channel, I'm not going to say anything, but those help for sure. So again, I don't really care if you like the video today. If you're watching this, if you enjoyed it, I don't care if you like it at all. Likes are an illusion. But if you don't mind, if you enjoyed it, you learned something, make sure you leave a comment and just say, I enjoyed this one today, Jor. I learned something today. I like the way you look at things. Just so that when other people are scrolling on YouTube and they see the comments, which a lot of people do, I do that. I look at the comment section first, but they'll say, hey, this is actually going to be a good use of my time. So comments, relevant. Likes, irrelevant. And if you join or if you want to support the channel, you can join as a member and you get all the Bitcoin School videos as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to give away some Bitcoin. So if you get a Lightning wallet, now would be the time to bust her open. Get the Lightning wallet opened up, press send, and you'll be able to have a chance to win. They got odds on here now, which is kind of cool. I like that with Bitcoin Well now. It shows the odds of what you can win in terms of sats. But Scotty, kind of in the meantime here, maybe let's get things queued up with our DSA. Let's get the DSA buzzing. Are we up? Are we down from last week? Okay, so this little contest here we're going to be doing is courtesy of our friends over at Bitcoin Well. So I talked about River. We talked about Strike. Both of those exchanges are custodial. They're custodial exchanges, which means that you can actually hold your Bitcoin with them in the meantime, which I like. You know, a lot of YouTubers will say, not your keys, not your coins, but I think that people should actually hold their Bitcoin on an exchange until they're ready to take self-custody of it. So River is the best place to do it in my mind. But once you're kind of advanced, once you're kind of the next level from there, you can use something like Bitcoin Well. And Bitcoin Well is what I use to buy all my Bitcoin here in Canada. They have a couple of really cool features, including swap, where you can actually swap Bitcoin from on-chain to Lightning for free. Otherwise, you usually pay like a conversion fee of 5,000, 10,000 sats. But with Bitcoin Well, you can actually do those swaps for free. So if you're somebody who uses Lightning or wants to use Lightning, you can use Bitcoin Well and do that for free as part of your account. And if you use the link and sign up, what I would say is just like my recommendation is just sign up for an account with Bitcoin Well. Buy like $200, $300, $400, whatever you're going to buy this week worth of Bitcoin, and just see what your experience is like. You can do this if you're in Canada or in the US. And, you know, if it sucks, if you're not into it, then just go back to what you were doing. But if you like it, maybe you'll start using Bitcoin Well as kind of your new go-to, because I think that their fees are actually the lowest or very close to the lowest out there, because they don't actually hold any Bitcoin. You send them dollars, they send you Bitcoin. They don't hold any Bitcoin. They're a non-custodial exchange. So I'm going to give away some Bitcoin on their behalf today. So here we go. We got the new odds here, which are 19 and 20 went up to 2,100 sats. 1 in 20 odds of winning 2,100 to 21,000 sats, and 1 in 10,000. Actually, on the Visionaries daily stream that I do, you can actually somebody won 210,000 sats. It was about 6 months ago now, but somebody won 210,000 sats, and 1 in 10,000 you get 1 million sats here. So you get some of these tosses into the well if you sign up for an account and you buy a little bit of Bitcoin. You get some tosses into the well. So here we go. Here's our first toss of the day, courtesy of Bitcoin Well. And we're actually going to be able to see now when somebody has redeemed it, because it kind of disappears from the screen. 210 sats. So it should disappear here in a second. There we go. Somebody won it. If you want it, you want to share, you want it, you can. If not, you can keep it to yourself. We're going to do another one, though, because 210 sats is not enough today. Here we go. Into the well. Another 210, which means we're going to have to do another one. We are not satisfied with 210. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going until we get more than 210 sats. We might burn all of our tosses here today. And has it been claimed? Yes, somebody won it. Congrats. Okay, here's another one. So again, my advice here is even if you're kind of satisfied with the exchange you're using, just give Bitcoin Well a shot. Bitcoinwell.com/Jor. Try them out. And you get some tosses into the well. You can use their free swap service. You can set up a recurring buy. You can pay bills with it. And in my mind, anyways, I think the Bitcoin Well is very aligned with me. If you follow Adam on social, on Nostr, on X, his values are very much aligned with me. I know for a fact that if Bitcoin Well were to give any sort of information away to the government, it would be probably by force. They're not just generously giving your information away like some exchanges are. So I'm a big fan of Bitcoin Well, big fan of Adam, who's their CEO, and very much aligned with my values here. And that's important to me. You got to vote with your energy, your attention, and not just at the ballot every 4 years at the ballot box. 210 again, damn. We might burn through all of our tosses here. And then we're going to have none for the rest of the month. So I'm really hoping here Bitcoin Well doesn't call me on my bluff for doing these till we're done. What do we got here left? Okay, we got some tosses. We got lots. This is supposed to be for the month, though, so hopefully one of these is higher than 210 here. You guys are just cleaning up. You're the sat vacuums out today. Okay, come on, baby. Big one. 210 again, really? I don't think I've seen this many 210s in a row. The universe is trying to see if I'm serious or not here, I guess. And bad news for the universe is that I am. Congrats. Okay. I think we're due for a big one here now. That was kind of a stupid promise to make. Completely out of my control. But anyways, next toss here. How many of these are we going to do? There we go. 1,000 sats. Big one. Biggie Smalls. All right, Scotty, do we have a number here yet? Even, okay. Sats and Sunset says my phone keeps picking up Arnie's QR code. Really? Well, you can use that if you want to too. You can use that if you want to, Sats and Sunsets. Just kidding. The guy who bought a radio membership, 88 Sats radio membership today, Sats and Sunsets. Okay, so we're what else we got here? A couple more things, and we'll call her a day. I just realized that I'm running low here on bats. Okay, what else did we have to do? What was on my list? Can anybody remind me here? We got to do our DSA. We got to do, I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm going to have a little bit of lemonade here, I think. Has anybody tried these before? Element? I got a little, I'll give you a little gift here, actually. I got a code for you to use. If you're somebody who likes electrolytes and salt, there's been a couple people ordering with my link in the last little while. But basically, if you use the link that I have, you get a free sample pack. So you basically get 10 free packs of this, different kind. So it's worth it. Even if you've ordered from Element before, I think you can still use the the code. Carson over on Nostr says Element is awesome. I agree, man. So you can use my code and you get 10 free packs of it, little packs for free, sample pack. Maybe some you've tried, maybe some you haven't tried, but you get some free stuff, which is what you always want. You should never buy anything without a referral link these days. You're kind of just leaving some stuff on the table. So there it is. And if you're watching this later, I'll put that in the show notes as well for you. Okay. Element is awesome. What's your favorite flavor, Carson? I think mine's lemonade. I usually get 2 lemonade, 1 citrus, and 1 raspberry. That's kind of my usual order. I go through about 2 of these a day. I put some creatine in them for the afternoon for the workout, and in the morning I just have some salt. But yeah, good crew over in Noster today. Carson, Paula was there. First time I've seen Paula. Good to see. Noster's catching on. Orange, really. See, I received some orange for the first time in my sample pack that I got, and I'd never tried before. It was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. Ginger won 210. Nice. Attaboy. ASC says, how do I redeem the QR code? So basically what you do is you go into a Lightning wallet. So you could use something like Wallet of Satoshi. You could use CoinOS. I'd recommend Wallet of Satoshi. And then basically you go into the wallet and you just press send. It seems kind of counterintuitive. You think you'd be pressing receive, but you press send. And then it brings up a little scanner that you can scan. And the first person to scan that QR code wins the sats. Okay, so we're going to do our the last part here, which is our smash buy. Smashy. And we do this every day, actually. And so if you've been enjoying these 88 lessons, I would encourage you to stop by our daily stream every day. Simple. You just go to rumble.com and you search 88 sats. And there's a couple different ones on there. I still got to delete that other one, but you just look for 88 sats. And we do a live stream every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And on that show, we buy Bitcoin every morning. And this is kind of the key here. It does not matter how much you buy. It only matters that you buy. So that's kind of the concept here every day. And in this case, every week. So what is it today? The 10th? February 10th. And Scotty says we are even. So today we got to buy $11 worth. So, if you watch the show today, you understand why I say it does not matter how much you buy. The only thing that matters is that you buy. Because we're kind of living in an inverse world right now where I think that, you can buy 1,500 sats for $1. I believe that it should cost $1,500 for 1 sat. In other words, it's a pretty good opportunity right now. So it doesn't matter how much you're buying. The only thing that matters is that you're buying and you're doing it consistently. So if you need some accountability, you want some people to go through it with, show up to our daily streams. Just go to Rumble and type in 88 sats and you can find the account there. Show up every morning. So what are we going to get today? $11 buys us. Wow, that's a big one. 11,575. So 1 unit of the worst, shittiest, fakest money that humans have ever seen, ever used. You can trade 11 of those units for 11,575 units of the best, scarcest, most precious, energy-backed units and the best money that humans have ever seen. Pretty good trade. Pretty good trade, 11,575. So you can see even in the last 2 weeks here, that same $11 got us over 2,000 sats more. So however I got this $11, whatever work I did to get that, I got paid more in real units. That was the whole point of today. So there you go. If you're part of our weekly buy today, throw in the chat how much you spent and how much you got in sats. So if you're in Canada, I use ShakePay for mine. I use ShakePay. So what I do is I usually send like $100 every Monday to my ShakePay cash account. And then every day I buy. So it's kind of like an intelligent DCA strategy. And if you're in the US, you can use River to do the same. You send River like $100 every week. You show up for the show. And depending on the price of Bitcoin, if it's up, you buy less. If it's down, you buy more. And the most important thing is that we're doing it every day. And it's going to be amazing to see how this whole thing turns out. with these amounts here. And again, every sat that we have here in the community is a sat that they don't have. Epstein's friends, the politicians, the sickos out there. Every sat that we have here is a sat that they can't have, a sat that they can't debase, devalue. Pretty powerful. Itchy mustache. Edward the Bruce. What the heck? Edward the Bruce says, I agree, but also the fees. I DCA so I can not only set and forget, but also River and Strike have fee less DCA. I think that Strike and River are pretty similar. Overall, I think they have pretty much the same features. I just like that River has proof of reserves. That's why I prefer River. Also, if you go to River and you look at their website and you go to like river.com/learn, there's so much information on there that they have. It's probably one of the best resources for Bitcoiners is river.com/learn. And the other thing about River we talked about before, but you can actually set up a supercharge buy. So it's kind of automated for you. It takes you out of the equation. When the price is lower, it buys more. Supercharged, it's called. And also, if you have a cash balance on River, they actually pay you interest in Bitcoin. So that's what I would say. That's my recommendations to you. Duncan got 38,912 sats for 20 quid. Nice. Very nice. Whoa. Praetorian got 67,129 units of freedom for $47. And that's where we're going to leave it today. So big shout out to everybody for being here today. Again, we don't have any sponsors. I think it's important. I think it's actually not important, but imperative that I don't have any sponsors. Because, this industry has been kind of tarnished through the years. There's been a lot of bad actors here. And my hope here and my intentions are to be unfiltered, be bought by nobody, and be able to speak whatever I want to talk about any given day. And so it's the community here who helps make that possible. And so again, if you would like to support the channel, you can send to the QR code there. If you learned anything today, if you enjoyed the show, that's one way to do it. That's Arnie's wallet, or you can send to jor@rizful.com. jor@rizful.com. Leave a comment. Let me know you enjoyed it. Join the school. It'll be the best investment you ever make. And again, if you're serious about this stuff, you got to invest some time. You either got to invest some time or money or both. But as a first generation Bitcoiner here, it's up to you. It's completely up to you. Nobody's going to do it for you. So I hope you have an amazing day today. Thanks again, everybody. Who's the MOB today? I think it was Josh. Josh would be the MOB today with the biggest zap of the day. Big shout out to Duncan. Big shout out to Letha. Big shout out to Josh. Big shout out to Maria. And big shout out to Sats and Sunsets for a zap and a membership purchase there. And to everybody else who showed up in the chat with some other zaps there as well. Have yourselves an amazing day, everybody. And remember, people think that they're too early to Bitcoin, or sorry, that they're too late to Bitcoin. I think it's the inverse of that. I think that we're actually too early right now. And if you can get through this volatility for the next decade, you're going to be very well rewarded for that. But you got to make sure that you can protect your Bitcoin. And that's kind of what I focus on here. So continue showing up, continue investing time, and take it seriously. If you do these next couple of years right, you're going to change the future of your family. You're going to change your bloodline forever. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you either tomorrow morning or next week. Bye-bye.